What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we always start this show by being transparent. And the weekend was not great for me, Rob. My top plays were perfect throughout week 6, but I had 3 of them this weekend, and they lost. They were Ravens plus 7.5, and that one really pissed me off because I feel like they left a lot on the table. Browns wasn't close. And Chargers bit me in the ass, Rob Veno. I know better than that to be optimistic about the Chargers laying points. So those were not good overall. In NFL, I did go 3-3. So tonight, I think I went 3-3. I'm pretty much split. So tonight is a big deal for me with Monday Night Football. Vino, how's everything been for you?
I tell you what, it was great up until yesterday, Skee. I had a lot of big plays in college football and put a lot in the bankroll. Thursday through Saturday, a lot of wins. I think it was something like 9-3, with a lot of big plays invested
Nice.
in there. So that was great. And then yesterday came and they weren't big plays. I didn't love the NFL card, but I didn't win an NFL game yesterday at all. It
Wow.
started with that Denver team total,
Mhm.
13 points with about 9 minutes left in the second quarter, or 10 points, I guess, and really don't score again. Um, Followed that up with, the Chargers. Let me talk about the Chargers.
Oh
I
boy.
had the Chargers Ski in a different form. I had them first half over 12 and a half points. They scored 3 times. They kicked 3 field goals. They put it in the end zone one time, guys. They couldn't do it. That was followed up by last night's Kansas City Detroit game, where I had over 51, landed 47, and a couple of blown drives there that really could have added too. So, the term left stuff on the table, I think that game did, but we'll get back with it. Overall, it was a winning weekend, just could have been a lot better than it was.
All right, well, let's see if we can do better tonight. We have 2 Monday Night Football games we're going to talk about, and we will start with the Bills at the Falcons. This one opened up, my bad, and shout out to Derwin Smith. I like that in the chat says, "What up, Ski? I have a good feeling today. You're gonna give it. Know you're gonna give it your best. Appreciate you. I appreciate you as well." All right, Buffalo and Atlanta opened up -5 for the road team. Looks like -3.5 currently. Total open 49.5. And I'm seeing a lot of 50s out there. I mean, there are some 49.5s depending where you shop. You have the Bills off of a loss. You have the Falcons off of a bye here. Um, this one is really interesting to me, Rob. I think a lot of people have ran to the window and bet the Falcons probably because they're at home and off of a bye. And the Bills' run defense has not been the greatest, I don't think. Um, the Bills' defense has been good or solid, I think, in the red zone. But overall, I think the run defense hasn't been the best. So I think that matchup could be what people like here. It's tough when I'm thinking about Penix versus Josh Allen to go and run to the window with, you know, you really could just ask Buffalo to win this game. That's how I feel. That's what it's getting close to. So I'm curious, which side of the fence are you on? You like the matchup for the Falcons at home? Or are you going with the better quarterback on the road? What you thinking here?
Well, I'll start with what you said in the middle there, Ski. People playing this game because Buffalo's run defense. I mean, a few things, right? Off of a bye, like you said, at home. They've been better at home, although they did lose to Tampa here, a good team by 3. Um, and the Bills' run defense has been lousy, 145 yards per game allowed. But I think what gets lost in that mix is they played the last 4 games without Ed Oliver. And Ed Oliver is their run stuffing defender. I mean, without him, they don't stop the run. It's the same with Baltimore losing their top run defender. And tonight, Ed Oliver's back. So all of a
Nice.
sudden, that 145 yards per game allowed, in my estimate, it's another reason why we just can't look at overall statistics and run with them, because he makes a difference. Now, you could counter that a little bit, Ski, by saying Ed Oliver, he went out in game 1. He was playing, got hurt, and that was the game against Baltimore where Derrick Henry was kind of going crazy. And I think Derrick Henry went crazy for the majority of the game, but a lot of it when Oliver was out. So to me, I throw that run defense. And Bijan Robinson is a great running back. Next to Derrick Henry, he's probably 1A. Some people would argue better. But having Oliver back makes a big, big difference. Second thing I'll say is when I look at the Falcons, and I've watched them a couple of times this year, their offensive weaponry is so limited, Skee. You have Drake London, a good wide receiver, but your deep threat, Darrell Mooney, is on the injured list. And you have a tight end in Kyle Pitts. But Buffalo's been the third best team defending tight ends this year. So now if Robinson gets slowed a little bit because Oliver's present, if in fact Pitts gets slowed a little bit because Buffalo plays tight ends really well, you're left with Penix and you're left with Drake London. And is that enough to beat Buffalo? I'm not sure. Your offensive line has to play really good. Your defense has to play really good. Then when I went through schedules, because I see a lot of commentary on how Buffalo has played a weak schedule. True. I can't argue it when you played Miami, the Jets, and New Orleans, and you won all 3 games. Weak schedule. You've lost to Baltimore and you've lost to New England. But you could say the same for the Falcons. I mean, they beat Minnesota, and Minnesota was missing 3 starting offensive linemen. They only had 2 linemen in that game, and Atlanta wins. And then they beat Washington without Jaden Daniels. We know Washington's not the same without their quarterback. That's been proven. They lost by 30 to Carolina. And, like I say, lost to Tampa early in the season. So I don't know that the Falcons have been that much better. I don't know. Off a bye is a really nice thing to say. It sounds good, right? Oh, they're off a bye and they're at home. But some of these teams, we talk about rest versus rust in other situations a lot, but I guess you can apply it to bye weeks too. Some teams don't come out full force off of a bye. It takes a while. I think it might take Atlanta a while to adjust to playing Josh Allen. I don't care how many weeks of preparation you have to get ready for Josh Allen. It's like that Mike Tyson phrase. You think you got a game plan until you get punched in the mouth. Then you got to change your game plan a little bit. Buffalo might get there early. They've been a really, really good scoring team in the first half. I think 13 plus in 4 of the 5 games that they've played. I think they could cover first half for sure. I think they'll be ahead by a field goal. It's probably the way I lean the best. Buffalo -2.5 first half. But I can see them winning this game as well. Total, I don't really have a good feel for it. Because if, in fact, Ed Oliver makes a big difference tonight, Atlanta's going to have a hard time scoring. Bijan Robinson, he leads that team in rushing and receiving. They're so dependent on him. It's crazy. Buffalo's often a loss, a little bit angry. And to top that off, Buffalo does have a bye week next week, so they can sell out this week with a bye next week. Few reasons to like Buffalo, I guess. I'll probably try them first half -2.5.
Yeah, to what you said about Bijan, Mark likes his rushing and receiving over 109.5. I could understand why you like that. Yeah, it's hard for me. It's Bills or pass for me from a side perspective. But let's talk a little bit more about this total. I know you said you don't feel strong about it, but just looking a little bit more, I mean, you already mentioned if Ed Oliver is back, that's going to help this Bills run defense. Um, I feel like the Bills, I feel like both of these teams have struggled in the red zone to score. Um, so I feel like it's going to be a run heavy game script. And we're thinking the Bills' run defense will be better. So who knows how much success the Falcons actually have. And I think that the Bills are going to be run heavy as well. So I don't know. That sounds like tick, 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 tick to me. I mean, why are we not going to the under in this game? When teams get to a bye week, right? That gives you time to work on whatever was wrong. So Atlanta, I mean, yeah, they won their last game, but they gave up 27. Game before that, they gave up 30. Maybe, I mean, I would have to look it up, but maybe some guys on the defense got healthier. Maybe they're just working on the defense. I know that would be number one priority for me. Just looking at the box score. So, any thought on that? What I'm saying there, and also one more. I'm looking at time of possession for both of these teams is number 1 and number 2. They don't play very fast. They kind of just milk the clock. Uh, I'm thinking under.
It's hard to dispute it, Skee. It really is. Without the help of turnovers and short fields or explosive plays, big play touchdowns, it's hard to argue that 2 + 2 = 4 logic. I'll add this to it. Raheem Morris, just to your point about how many points Atlanta has given up the last 2 weeks, it's really not due to personnel not being on the field. His complaints were, and I guess they went through this 2 week period between games in an article that I read trying to correct what's wrong. He says they got 15 pressures on the quarterback in their last game and only got 2 sacks. And they need to convert more sacks because those non-sacks, turn into situations where teams either end up converting first downs or get out of bad down and distance situations, whatever. But the answer to that in this game is, do you really sack Josh Allen? I mean, a different quarterback, I could understand that logic, but nobody really sacks this guy. And he gets out of a lot of pressure. So I don't know that their defense gets a heck of a lot better. But I will say, to your point, and I'll look at the other side, the Bills do run James Cook a lot, and they're going to test the Atlanta defensive front. So from a totals perspective, the logic sounds good under 50 points. I know it's been bet up about a half a point, 49.5 to 50. It's indoors. There's no weather, etc. But we saw last night, even KC and Detroit couldn't get over 50.
Yeah, I like it. That's the way I'm thinking for tonight's game. And like I said, if I'm getting to the window with the side, it's going to be the road team for me. All right, let's talk about one more here, Rob Veno. That is the Bears and the Commanders. Opened up -4.5 for Washington. Now it looks like 5.5 pretty much everywhere. Total, not a whole lot of movement. Open 49.5. Still looking at that right now. So the Bears are the team off of the bye here. I don't know, Vino. I don't have that strong of an opinion on this one. I would think I don't really trust the Commanders laying points. Like I think yeah they could win the game, but like I don't want to be laying a lot of points versus a team off the bye. That's just my thought process. Is there anything for you on this one?
And the weather's really bad here too, Ski, in this region of the country. I mean, I'm looking out the window at pouring rain right now. The weather report does show that by 8:15 tonight Eastern, when this game will be played, rain will slow down. It's a grass field. I'd imagine they have it covered to whatever degree they cover it. But it could become an issue. The Bears defensively, I don't like very much. Caleb Williams' propensity to turn the ball over, I don't like very much. Washington has seen a Ben Johnson offense before. They played Detroit a couple of times, didn't defend it well, but Detroit has better personnel than the Bears. I think in the long run, what I do trust out of all of this mess is Washington to score points. Daniels came back last week, and against a difficult Chargers defense, they scored 27. If you can score 27 on the road against the Chargers, man, you could score 27 at home against the Bears, I would think. The Bears have been – even the game against the Cowboys, where when you just look at the result and see they only allowed 14 points, the Cowboys threw 3 interceptions in the end zone. They could have had 3 more touchdowns in that game potentially. So the Bears' defense still is bad, very bad. Washington's offense becomes very good. When Daniels is in there, of course, the receiving core is beat up a little bit, so that is a drawback. Have not played. If I did, I'd be looking at Washington team total.
Yeah, I think this is one I have to stay away from. Some guys in the chat liking a couple things, but for Skee, I think I'll be on the sideline for that second NFL game. I think that's it here, Vino. I didn't really want to talk too much baseball today. So we can just move it right along to best bets. And I'm not even sure if Weekend Warrior is still going. So I'm not going to put up any graphic, but I'll ask you if there's anything you would like to promote. And if you do have a best bet for the show, we'd love to hear it. If you don't, it's all good.
Yeah, real quick here, Ski, just because you and I are both involved, I'll go ahead and promote the Wager Talk NBA show, which you and I will both be a part of. I think it begins with an episode tomorrow. NBA starts on the 21st, and we're already at the 13th. It's hard to believe that we're halfway through football and we're going to have to begin NBA. But I know most of the audience here loves basketball, so really quick, just check Wager Talk TV. We will be part of the NBA show that begins tomorrow. Best bets is impossible for me here, Skee, because I didn't bet anything with conviction today. So without having gone to the window yet, I will say that where baseball is concerned, it's slight leans, but nothing that I've gotten to yet. So I'm going to pass on best bets here. We usually like to give advice that we're backing with our own wallets. I don't have that in tow today. So I'm going to skip today, and maybe we get you something stronger tomorrow. Actually, there's 3 college football games tomorrow. So I'll probably have something much worthy of a best bet tomorrow than today.
For myself today, I also have not made a wager, but I like that first game. It's either under 50 or Bills for myself, and I'm leaning more towards the Bills. I mean, I'm leaning more towards the under. I just think if anything, we're going to see run heavy game plan from both teams, and if that run defense can be better with Ed Oliver back for Buffalo, that'll make a big difference as well. So the red zone struggles for Atlanta. Um, neither team playing very fast. I think it's an under game. So I'm very likely to get there. I just don't like to tell you, I only like to give you what I have in my pocket. So if I do play it, I'll tweet it out. How about that? So, Vino, see if I did that right. There we go. I appreciate you taking the time to break those couple games down with us. Everybody in the chat, we appreciate you as well. Man, so tomorrow we only have what, college football and baseball, I guess, right?
Yeah, it should be a Dodger game tomorrow.
All right, so we'll see if we can find you guys some money tomorrow. Best of luck, everybody, on all your action tonight. We'll catch you guys later.